lot of the time we just do one interview and make that hire. Oh, he showed up for the interview. Let's hire him because he's a great fit because he knows how to paint.
Guilty.
Yeah. But that's hiring out of desperation, not in a position of power. So we want to be hiring in a position of power. So we want to make sure we hire before we actually need to. That might not be the case right now, but we can still be patient and do enough interviews so that we hire the right person. Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hopping into today's episode of the Painter Growth Podcast. I am joined today by Matias and Camila, business owners, painting contractors, and we are going to be working on some hiring today.
Yep.
So you want to just tell me what's going on?
Yeah. So we are at a point right now where we've really started implementing the different processes and systems that you've provided for us, Mike. We've really started noticing a big influx in leads and just in people calling us for bookings. And we really need to start making sure that we have the manpower to back up all of the work that is being provided to us. So we're getting ready to do a hiring campaign. Camila is going to be in charge of hiring. So, Gami, what are your initial questions on hiring? What do you need to know?
Nothing. I do have to sit down and watch the modules. I hired a guy last week. Just trying to get more people on our team. We're getting more jobs. So just trying to be more, like I said, hiring more guys so that we can start getting more that amount of jobs that we're receiving.
Okay. So let's just start with some background just so I can kind of understand where you guys are at. So how long ago did you join the program?
We joined about a month ago, I'd say.
Okay. Awesome. And then how much, in dollar amount have you booked since joining?
How much have we booked last month?
I don't know the exact numbers. But we're working right now on 5 different jobs, and then we have 2 guys on each job. So I want to say we probably closed 20,000 last month of deals.
Okay. So you closed about 20,000. You have 10 painters working right now. Are they all working full time?
Yes.
Okay. And so how much are you averaging right now for monthly production?
Probably that 20,000. Okay.
So 20,000 a month is probably what 2 painters could produce full time. One painter can produce about $10,000 on their own if you just look at charge rates. So if you go, if your charge rate or production rate is say $75 an hour, which is kind of average, and you go 75 times 40, which is 40 hours a week, times 4.3 weeks in a year, that's 12,900. I wish I could put numbers up on the thing. This doesn't have the whiteboard like Zoom does. So $75 an hour is an average charge rate, 40 hours a week at 4.3 weeks. That's 12,900 per month. So each painter should be able to produce about 12,900 per month. With 10 painters, you should be able to produce about $129,000 per month.
Yes.
Right. So I guess before we look at bringing on new painters, I think we need to get clear on our numbers. We need to know how much is coming in, how much work do we have scheduled out, how much is each painter producing per day, per week, per month. Are they being maximally productive? Are there things that we can do to help them increase their production? And how much are we producing right now? So getting really clear on where you are will be the only way that you can decide really what you should be doing from there. Because I don't think if you have 10 painters, it's not a hiring thing right now. It's a productivity thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just tell me a little bit about the sites. So you have 5 crews, 2 painters per crew. What types of jobs are they working on right now?
Mostly just paint. We're focusing on the painting.
Well, interior jobs, exterior jobs.
Oh, they're all interior right now.
All interior.
Yes.
Okay. So
they're
maybe
all so one is actually I don't know if Mati told you that we have this this program where they can pay us an escrow for sellers that are about to sell their house.
oh yeah, you shared that a couple weeks ago.
Yes. So we have two clients that are doing that deal where we directly send the invoice to title, and then title will pay us once the house is sold, once it's closed. So we have 2 jobs that we're working on like that right now. That it's just interior basic paint. Just I want to do it as quick as possible to put it on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have another one that was an insurance. It was a flood. The condo flooded a little bit, so they had to remove the drywall and stuff. So we're doing a little bit of drywall repair plus the painting for the interior, new texture, and then the paint.
Okay. I would want to just get like a confirmation on what your monthly revenue is, because I just have a hard time believing that it's only $20,000 if you have 10 painters.
Yeah, no.
Are they full time with you, or are they subs?
No, they're
full time. I was 20,000 profit.
Oh, okay, 20,000 profit. Okay, so
yeah.
So how much? So okay, this is different. So how much like top line revenue? Could you check like your QuickBooks or something on how much total revenue was produced?
Mati, do you know about that?
That's the number that I'm trying to get to. If you're making $20,000 profit, that sounds more like it.
Yeah, I was talking profit. I'm sorry.
Okay, all good. Yeah, that would be where I would want to start. Is like, what are we producing right now per month, and seeing what the productivity level is of these painters. Or do you have like your production schedule that I could see? Like, could you share your screen and show me your production schedule?
We really don't have a lot of this set up.
Okay. You're running 5 sites at a time without a production schedule.
Yeah, that's part of the reason we've been we don't have our systems up yet. My sister is running a lot of the jobs, and so she's a lot more on the forefront. So I think we need to be able to set it up together. Just because
So Camila, how do you keep track of what jobs are coming next and everything is being on top of?
So we use this like program wise.
Just like, yeah, what logistically do you do to understand where each job is sitting and when jobs are starting and stuff like that?
So we do, we started with Market. So we send our estimates so we go do the estimates, and that with Market, they sign it, and they have to sign it in order for us to put it in the calendar. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and put it in the calendar.
Google Calendar?
No, just a written calendar we have in our office.
Okay. So you just write it down on the calendar when the job is expected to be done? Yes.
When it's start date, when is finish date, and then what sometimes we have like jobs that come in between that need a little bit more attention. So we'd be like, okay, we're going to start it these 2 days. Okay, let's move these guys for 2 days over here and then go back to that one, finish the 2-day job and then go back to that one. So it just depends.
Do you use like a whiteboard? Like a whiteboard calendar? Okay, good. It's not like pencil you're erasing all the time. No.
Whiteboard calendar, and it's in our office where we can all see it and then coordinate with our guys.
So have you seen this? I'm just going to share my screen here. This production planner. So this is a pretty simple spreadsheet, but I think it would be really helpful to have you guys start implementing this. Okay. Just to get, because you have a lot of crews, and that's a lot of logistics. And I've ran that many crews. I think we had 7 or 8 crews going at once. And I couldn't imagine if like there wasn't a centralized way to communicate it with other members of the team. Right. So if you're on site, Camila, at a customer's house and you're doing like paint samples or something, and the customer's like, oh, hey, I need to move this job. Like we need to push it a week because my parents are in town or something. And so if right now the only way to communicate that is for you to write it down, and then when you get back to the office, change it on the calendar, that's like 2 different points of failure where that requires you to remember to do things. Right. And so if you have any systems that are reliant on like one person to do multiple things for it to work, it's going to break eventually. Yes. And you might get a courteous client who doesn't really care that much, but you might get someone who like really needed it done on a certain day. So we just want to set up like production systems so that it is more infallible. Nothing is completely infallible, but if we can make them as good as possible, then that will help everything. So this is just a super simple spreadsheet, production calendar. Basically, each set of 3 columns here is a crew. So what you'll do is you'll write the names of the crew members here. update the date. So let's go to August. Let's start on August 7th, which is this coming Monday. So all the dates update. Basically how it works is when you book jobs, you go to the second tab and put all of the job names in, the dollar amount, how many hours it's expected to take. Your charge rate will show up automatically. It'll just calculate it. And then when is the expected production date? So you can put a specific date in there when you told the customer that they were expected. And then yes or no, has it been scheduled? Basically what this one means is column F, have you brought it to the production planner? And so by bringing it to the production planner, here's what it means. So say we have this Johnson job, $5,000, 80 hours, right? And it's scheduled for whenever, let's say August, 6th. So in production planner, we will go to August 6th, let's say August 7th, and we'll put in job name, Johnson, amount, 5,000, hours, 80. And because it's 80 hours and we have a crew of 2 people, we know that this is going to take the whole week. Mm-hmm. Right? And then the color coding is how restrictive is it to potentially move. So if the client is like really easy on like when it can be done anytime, just, come in the next 2 months, then it'll be green. If it's like, okay, we're pretty serious, we want it around this time, then it's yellow. So there's some restrictions in place. And then if it's like the customer's like, I need it done between August 14th and August 18th, then it's red. And we know that it can't move at least from date, but it can move between crews. So if this McDonald job here is running late and it's going to go over into Monday, then we can reallocate the Johnson job to a different crew because we know that Johnson has to start on Monday. And so what you do is, because we can have all 5 crews here, we start scheduling out our jobs, seeing where there's gaps, and basically making sure that each crew is producing at least 80 hours per week or 40 hours per painter. Would this be helpful?
Yes, it will. And then that way we can just pull it out on our phones or on the computer instead of having to be at the office.
Exactly. Google Drive has a great phone app. So you can just go here and you don't have to pay a monthly subscription for this. So just really simple. And then that way, when you're booking jobs, you can even cross them out once you have them scheduled, or just like some sort of way that now you're never going to miss scheduling a job. So Camila, you're doing the sales, you go to the homeowner, the estimate, you book a job. As soon as you book the job, you immediately put it in here. And then whoever's responsible for scheduling, if it's also you or if it's somebody else, with the notes, if you have like your documents on like in like your customer contract or something like that, you can like put a link here. If you have any other details or photos, you can link various Google Doc folders. So whoever is now doing the scheduling has full access to the job details. Pretty simple, but it works really well.
Yeah.
Then,
So that way you can stay organized as well.
Yeah. Like how are you seeing, your implementation of this? Or what do you think it would add to your business?
It will add organization, just so that, and then I can even share this with my guys, and then they can even see like, okay, next week I'm not going to be here in Stockton, and the next week I'm going to be in Lodi, so it gives them as well to prepare for the week. Cause usually I'll just tell them the day we start the job, and then they know they have to go there till they finish, but they don't know the next place.
Exactly.
So it'll keep my guys, it'll keep my partners, it'll keep the whole crew on the same page.
We can actually go one further. You can share this with your clients. Right. It's really cool to like use it as a sales tool. So if you have an iPad and you have a client who's trying to schedule, and you guys are really busy, so you have lots of jobs scheduled, you can just open it up and look and say, oh, I actually have a spot coming up next week that would fit this job perfectly with my top interior crew. Yes. And you can like show them, it's like, see, we have like a 2-day gap here. Would you like to take that spot? Otherwise, you're waiting until October.
Yeah. Okay. See, I do that, but I just tell them verbally, like, okay, either have a spot this Monday or you're going to have to wait till mid-August.
Yeah. But if you can show them, and like, plus they can see how organized you are, how many jobs you have going, how many painters, that you're a real, organization, it adds a lot of credibility.
Yeah. And that's another thing Matthew was telling me, that we need to implement an iPad that just stays for the company, so that we take it to the estimates. Because now it's been mostly on my phone, but I think it's more professional if I show them the iPad, just so that they know it's like, okay, this is legit, you know?
Yeah, iPads are great for credibility, and you don't even have to buy an iPad. You can get like a Samsung tablet for a couple $100 these days. Like, and iPads are obviously the market leader. So how I would get started on this is start here on the book jobs, list out every single job that you have coming up in the future, and even the ones that you're working on right now. Then step 2, put your crews in here. Okay. And even a bonus, like if you have a crew that you know is more productive than the other crews, put in how many hours a week you think that they can handle. Right? If you think a crew of 2 can handle 100 hours a week, then put them in for 100. Right? Okay. If you think a crew can only handle 80, then put them in for 80. And then also when you're like, when your crews are asking for holidays and vacation, you can put that ahead of time so there's no miscommunications.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So just a little bit more malleable than your paper calendar, your whiteboard calendar.
Agreed.
So that's how I would get organized. I have it just set for 5 crews right now, but you can obviously extend it beyond that. And then, so you have 10 painters, you have a bunch of work scheduled. Do you think there's opportunity to increase the productivity, or do you think it's time to hire more painters?
Time to hire more painters.
Cool.
Yes.
We can definitely talk about that.
Yes. I know Mati has shared the modules that I have to watch, the hiring modules. So, just to, because I don't want, in the past, I don't think we have been as productive with our hiring. I want someone that's going to be consistent, and that's actually going to do a good job and stuff. So I want to look into those modules as well.
What's been your hiring process so far? Because you have 10 painters. It sounds like they're not too bad.
Yes. Honestly, word of mouth. Okay. So one guy is going to come up to me, hey, I have a friend. I mean, I just fired someone yesterday because he called in, or he didn't show up for 2 days. And then I was like, okay, I need someone consistent. I'm telling my clients that the job's going to be done in a week. And if you're not going to come, then that's going to it's going to postpone the job. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? It's not going to work. So now I'm looking for another person that is going to fill in his shoes. Right. And that's actually going to be a reliable worker for me. So it's honestly just been word of mouth. What do you know? What do you know what to do? Or what do you know what to do? And then, okay, I'm going to have you this a week at this rate, which will be the minimum. And then if you can show me that, you know, okay, I'll start increasing you.
Yeah.
So that's been our hiring process. Okay,
cool. So, I mean, what I typically recommend is to hire for character over skill. Like painting is not a super hard thing. You know, as much as we all like to believe it is, it's not super hard. You can learn it, especially if you have the right attitude. And I mean, you just listened to Tanner's podcast, right?
Yeah.
It's all about attitude and who you're hiring. And if you have someone who comes in with a bad attitude, they can not only, negatively impact their role, but they can negatively impact others, the customers, your guys' attitudes. So we want to make sure that we're getting the right person there. So where do we find people? Actually, how do we find the right person? So you're right, go through the training, but essentially it's going to be about identifying exactly who you're looking for. So being really specific. We have a couple exercises for you to go to, really specific on who you're looking for and what you're going to want that role to look like. What their responsibilities are going to be, what their compensation structure is going to be, and then you're going to want to create an ad for it. Okay, so the ad, you don't want it to look like every other ad out there, right? So we go through some exercises on what are the other things that you can offer. Are there any benefits? Are there any? Can you offer piece rate? Can you offer bonuses? Can you offer productivity bonuses? Can you offer flexible, scheduling or company events? And once you put your ad together, you want to drive that traffic somewhere. So what is going to be the action that people take as a result of going through that hiring ad? And we might get a lot of applicants. And so we don't want a ton of people calling you, because if we start doing a ton of in-person interviews right away, we're going to get no-showed on interviews. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to go to Starbucks and have the guy not show up and we just waste an hour of our time. So how do we avoid that? Pre-qualification. So using a Google form, having each applicant actually fill out a Google form. Let me see if I can find it. So yeah, I have the form in the training. I don't have it right here, but basically asking them about, you know, who they are, logistical stuff, sharing a social profile, like a Facebook page link, and then having them answer some long form questions, like not just checkboxes, not just yes or no. What are your skill? What's your skill level? But like, tell me why you'd be a great fit for your team. Why is this opportunity, you know, interesting for you? Can you describe in detail how to set up a sprayer? Right? Don't miss any step. And then you can even include, if you want a more experienced painter, like, you know what? I might not put a technical question here because you could just Google it. But even something just like, tell me step by step how you would go at painting a bedroom.
Yes.
Repainting a bedroom. And then they can, you know, you can see how bought in they are by, do they do a 2-word answer, or do they actually type a paragraph? Is it thoughtful? Do they put some like effort into it? And as you go through the various applicants, and we'll talk about getting applicants in a minute, but as you go through the various applicants in the form, you can just call the ones who actually put a little bit of effort into their application. And then from there, you follow the similar sales process to what you do in an estimate. You do a really thorough setup call, right? And pay attention to everything. Were they late? Were they driving? Were they distracted? Or were they attentive and clearly like eager? And then, you know, and then the next step would be the in-person interview where you actually meet with them. Are they on time? Are they early? Do they bring a resume? Are they dressed well? Do they clearly respect the opportunity? What's their attitude? Do they shake your hand firmly? Do they look you in the eyes, or are they weird? Do they give you weird vibes, or are you going to be comfortable with this person representing your business? And then, yeah, we have the interview framework for you to go through as well with those like 30 questions. So that's the process. And then the next thing we'll do is get into the traffic. Like, where do we get the applicants? But what stands out to you so far?
I love that the pre-qualification. So it's just not a waste of time as well. I love that. Okay, I can get a feeling of who I'm going to meet already before having to have like actually spent my time with them. You know, I know, okay, this person is more quiet, like you said, the paragraph thing, or he's more quiet on his words, and then you know, so he might not talk on the job as much with my guys. So, which is good. I don't want people talking. I want them to focus on their job, right? So I love the pre-qualification part where it's just like, okay, I get information of the person before I've actually met them, you know?
Yeah. So yeah. I'm sure you've been no-showed on an interview more than once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the open-ended questions, kind of getting them to express themselves a little bit. Yeah. And I mean, character over skill. I think that's such an important concept to keep in mind, you know, because I think we've probably had more issues when it comes to character than when it comes to skill, specifically when it comes to our painting employees. You know, like if someone's just being obnoxious at work and is interrupting everyone's workflow, that costs us a lot more money than someone dropping a speck of paint on the floor. You know, like yeah, absolutely. That stuck with me a lot. The character over skill.
Yeah. I mean, I've let guys go just for attitude, and it's just like, or they're talking with people and it's just postponing the job. And I'm like, you know what, like this person, and I'll compare it. I'm honest with my guys, and I'm like, this guy just came in. He doesn't know nearly as much as you knew, but look at his attitude. He's trying to learn. He's trying to get the hand of it while being focused and doing the job while maintaining, he's dressed well. He's not dressed in ratty clothes, you know, he cares about our uniform. He's a painter, but he'll keep it clean, you know? So I like character over skill. I need to start implementing that.
Cool. Yeah. I think that's pretty key. Oftentimes we don't consider the opportunity cost, right? Are they being productive? Are they hitting their hours? Are they completing how much revenue you need them to complete each week? And that can also go back to your production planner. If you're scheduling each painter for $5,000 or each crew for $5,000 a week or $7,000 a week or whatever, if they start falling off that pace, you can start looking into why.
Yeah.
So knowing your numbers is, you know, especially as you guys grow, because, you know, if you guys are doing about you must be doing about $100,000 a month right now. Mm-hmm. Around there?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we're working on a job that's the estimate went for 30,000. another one for 10,000, and then just smaller ones, 5,000, 3,000.
We're in a little bit of an interesting situation where we're inheriting a business, and so it's taking us a bit to restructure everything. And there are a few roadblocks, but we're trying our best to restructure things and to be able to get these numbers down. And
definitely in the right spot.
Yeah.
But you can't hustle your way beyond 100K a month. Like that's kind of the limit to where you can hustle and have these question marks on these black boxes. Like when I ask you, what did you produce last month? You should know it. Yeah. Right. When I ask you, what was your gross margin on your average on your jobs last month? You should know it.
Yeah.
Right. By the 7th or maximum the 10th of each month, you should have your bookkeeper sending you your profit and loss statement from the previous month so that you have your books caught up. You know where your margins are. You can see if it was a good month or a bad month. And if it was a bad month, we can dig into it. Which jobs were completed? What was the gross margin on those jobs? Was it one crew that's been consistently lower, or is it across the board? Is it an estimating issue? Is it a sales issue? Is it a production issue? Is it a training issue, a skills issue? So that's where, once we know our numbers, we can make decisions and base our future actions on that. Instead of let's just work harder and hire more painters.
100%.
Cool. Yeah. So we went through qualification, not getting no-showed, hiring for character over skill because skill is trainable. Now the next step is traffic. And the term traffic refers to applicants. Like where are you getting your applicants from? How many applicants are you getting? How many interviews are you doing per hire? A lot of the time we just do one interview and make that hire. Oh, he showed up for the interview. Let's hire him because he's a great fit because he knows how to paint.
Guilty.
Yeah. But that's hiring out of desperation, not in a position of power. So we want to be hiring in a position of power. So we want to make sure we hire before we actually need to. That might not be the case right now, but we can still be patient and do enough interviews so that we hire the right person. So what have you done in the past? You said you've done referrals in the past. That's pretty much where you've made your hires from before. Cool. So once you have your ad and your form set up, now we want to get traffic. So the first place that I would go is referrals. So every one of your painters, send them the ad. Hey, who do you know? Can you send this to any of your friends who are looking for jobs? Any of your friends who are painters, maybe they're working for a different company, but they want a new opportunity, send this to them. And first step is just trying to find, referrals, because good people know good people. Warm introductions are always better than a cold application. The next step would be going and putting your ad up at the paint store, talking to the store manager, or your paint reps, because they're the ones that are talking to paint companies every single day. Then the third step is going to be your online paid and online free sites. So Craigslist, Indeed, those types of pages, right? And a lot of those sites recommend you use their in-house hiring tools. So like when you put a job on Indeed, it's like, oh, have them use this skills assessment and then have them apply through Indeed. But just share your Google form on those sites, right? And then they can just go through your process instead of them having to go through that process. And you can even have a checkbox if you have a lot of sources of traffic and you want to know, hey, where did you find out about us? And you can just have a little drop down. Indeed, Craigslist, referral, Google, whatever, right? And put your ad on as many sites as you can. You can start with the free, and if you're not getting enough applicants, you can then go to a paid search on those sites. So yeah, referrals, paint stores, and then Facebook and your network too, right? Because you guys know other people who aren't painting for you in the painting industry. So you can start texting it out. You can start reaching out. Hey, do you know anyone who needs a job? Honestly, it's similar to marketing. It is marketing, because the more effort and the more output you do in this stage, the more input you're going to get, the more applicants you're going to get, and the better selection that you're going to have. If you're slow in your output, you're going to be slow in your input. So what are you hearing so far?
So the referrals, I like that idea too, because it also like, I'm giving the chance, because I know these guys have their people, my guys, they know someone or someone that's looking for a job and they want to help them out and stuff like that and bring them onto my team. So I like that, where they get the first dibs, you know what I mean? So we'll send the ad to them. And then, so how do you, well, I guess that would be the pre-qualification, but how do you filter, like say Craigslist and Facebook? How do you filter, okay, I'm not getting randoms and I'm actually getting people that are actually interested on working on the job?
Through your Google form.
The Google form.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that would be the pre-qualification.
Yeah, exactly. And if you get a referral, you want to treat them the exact same way if they were a cold applicant too. You don't give them special treatment. Still go through the full process, do a pre-qualification call, do an interview, ask the same questions. Just because they're referred by a client or current painter of yours doesn't mean that they're necessarily, you know, better than another applicant or even qualified. So you don't want to get kind of rosy colored glasses just because they're a referral. So lots of ways to get traffic. We do have a way, if that doesn't work, sometimes that doesn't work for people. We do have a way that we use to use Facebook ads to get people to apply, which actually works. It's a lot more technically challenging to set that up. But basically we do like a Facebook ad to a landing page, which is like a hiring page. And actually I can show you this. So here's like an example from a client that we did this for. So really straightforward. Basically just like, hey, here's the headline. I'll share this link with you as well. I actually recorded a little video for this client. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're hiring. This one is in Philadelphia. It's like, hey, here's the position. This is what we're looking for. And then summary. And then once they get to the bottom, they can click apply. And then that goes to the form.
To Google form. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's a little bit more technically challenging to set up because you need to set up a landing page, your Facebook ads, your targeting, and your Facebook pixel, which is just, you know, just a little bit more. So if you're not super savvy at Facebook, that's challenging to do. But if you are really good at Facebook, then it can be a really good way to get applicants for cheaper than Indeed. Yeah.
And then Indeed, you have to pay to put the ads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's free to post the ad, and then if you want to get, basically, if you want to get applicants, it's pretty pay to play. So you have to pay like, I can't remember, they give you a price like $15 or $20 an applicant, and they just start flowing you with applicants. Like you can set a budget like $100 a day or something like that, but like they will flow you with applicants, and then like 95% of them will be junk. And then what you need to make sure you do so you don't get charged for all of that is that you decline everyone who doesn't progress to an interview.
Oh.
And if you decline them, you won't get charged for them.
Okay.
But if you just forget to decline them or just like let it run your budget and then just forget about going back to Indeed, they'll charge you the full amount. So be a little careful there. The last thing I want to just discuss briefly is the opportunity and sweetening the opportunity. So how do you pay your painters right now?
Checks.
Hourly?
Oh, like sorry. Hourly.
Okay. And is everyone like $25 an hour, or like what is the
average is $23. $23.
And where are you guys located?
Stockton.
Stockton. We don't have nowhere near as high as Ontario or anything like that. Our average rate for painters and construction workers.
Yeah, our highest paid right now is 28, and then
you guys are in Ontario?
No.
Where are you?
Stockton, California.
Oh, Stockton, California. I thought you said Toronto.
No, I was comparing it to Toronto and Ontario.
Okay, because there is a Stockton in Ontario.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because we're doing like our Toronto mastermind next week or in 2 weeks. And you're in Ontario. I'm like, you guys got to get there.
That's hilarious. You know, I mean, we might fly out there, man.
You should. It's going to be fun. So we have a really good tool that you can use that I recommend everyone eventually get to. And it might not be logistically possible for you right now, but like over the coming months, as you get your feet under you with this business, is moving your painters to piece rate. So what do you know about piece rate?
It's payment by job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so why this is a good idea for the business, it's a good idea because it guarantees a fixed percentage for labor. So your labor budget, basically, most of the time, 95% of the time, will not go over that specific budget. So if you budget 40% for labor and you're on a piece rate contract, your painters will not go over 40%. So that your gross margin is going to be fixed at that. Mm-hmm. And then paint, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 12%, maybe it's 15%. Like that's a variance, but at least you don't have a 60% labor bill at the end of the job. So that's number one, why it's good for the business. Yes. Excuse me. Why is it good for the painters? Is because if they're fast, they get paid more. So if a painter gets done a 50-hour job in 40 hours, then they get paid for the full 50 hours, which essentially gives them 20% more per hour. So if you're paying them $23 an hour and they get an extra 20%, that's an extra $460 an hour. So that's 23 plus 460, that's almost $28. Okay, so now instead of working for $23 for the last week, they work for $28. Mm-hmm. Cool. So they get to make more money. Mm-hmm. Now, what are some caveats of this? Number one, painters must be responsible for their own touch-ups. They get paid when you get paid. So they do the walk around with the homeowner. They make sure it's ready to collect the check. Camila, maybe you still collect the check, or the painters do, whichever you decide. But they don't get paid until that job is closed out, and ideally you have a Google review from them, right? And then on top of that, when it's an in-house painter, you don't tell them the piece rate by dollar amount. You tell them the piece rate by hours amount. Okay, this keeps it fair across painters. If you have a $21 an hour, $23 an hour, it keeps it fair. So you calculate your labor amount that you want to pay. So say it's a $5,000 job. I'm actually just going to share a spreadsheet here so that I can just write this all out. I think it'll make a little bit more sense. And sorry for anyone who's listening to this, but it'll be a little bit numbers heavy for a minute. Oh, I got to just trade my screen here. You know what? This is fine. Whoa. Okay, there we go. Mm-hmm. So if you have a $5,000 job and you have a $75 an hour charge rate, that's a $50,000, 66-hour job. Okay. And so 66-hour job, that's how you would tell that to your painter. So hey guys, this job is worth 66 hours. And if you look at your labor rate, 23 times 66.6 is 1,531. And if you take 1,531 divided by 5,000, you're looking at 30% labor. Is following so far?
Yes. Cool.
So if we could keep our labor at 30%, that'd be wonderful, right?
Yeah.
So if the painters get done in 66 hours, they will make their $23 an hour, and now we're going to be at 30%. But if they get it done in 50 hours, they get this much divided by 50. Now they're making $30 an hour. Okay. I can't do the dollar. I only have this pound. I got to change this. I don't know why it always does this to me. I am not in the United Kingdom. States. Okay. Back to the bottom. There we are. Okay. Cool. This is not. Okay, so this is not, it shouldn't be a dollar amount. Number, plain text. Okay, cool. So they're making $30 an hour. Where was I going with this? They get paid when you get paid. In California, there are some laws against piece rate. I can hear the listeners telling me that there are laws against piece rate for employees, but that's not how you structure it for them, because the way that you structure it is that they're going to get paid their $23 an hour for the entire job. And then there's going to be a variance at the end. So at the end, if they are getting the $30 an hour, then they're going to get an $8 per hour bonus upon completion.
So you put it as a bonus.
You put it as a bonus for employees in California. For others, nobody else cares, but California cares a lot about a lot of things that are kind of ridiculous. Yes. But anyway, so you provide as a bonus upon completion of the job, and just be really clear on that. So this is how many hours it's for. This is, you know, your budget, and we're going to help you get it done in that time. We'll help you with the job planning. We'll help you make sure that you understand where the budget's coming from. Here's how many hours everything is worth. And then you give them the tools to be successful with piece rate. And you want them to win. You want them to make more money than their hourly rate, because then everyone's happy and they're producing, they're cranking through work, quality's high, all of that. Now, what happens if they miss a budget, right? Because we've had jobs go over, right? Maybe this takes 80 hours. And so if it takes 80 hours, then we still want to maintain this $1,531 rate. So we need to have a mutually agreed upon, basically like bottom end of earnings. So with your painters, we agree that if a job was over budget, you won't get less than X per hour. Let's say it's 18 per hour. Okay. So they're motivated to produce quickly, but there is a mutual trust. They need to trust that you're giving them fair budgets that are actually achievable and beatable. And in exchange, you're trusting them that they're going to produce high quality work and get it done quickly. Right. So they're motivated to get it done, but they need to trust the system. And that's the hardest part. Is if you had a painter working for years and they've been hourly, it's going to be hard to create that trust. So how you can create that trust for a current employee is by showing them the last, 20 jobs that they've done or 10 jobs that they've done and saying, here's how much money you would have made if you were on piece rate. Hopefully they're all beats, right? Hopefully they would have made more money if they're on piece rate. So it's like, hey, would you like to test out piece rate for the next 10 jobs?
Does that make sense?
And you can potentially, if you follow this trend, make 10% more.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, we could have like a little meeting / seminar over at the house. We'll explain like the difference compared to the last job, show them how much they could have made.
Yes.
Kind of get them to trust the piece rate.
I like that, because sometimes there's jobs where it's like, okay, I know you could have done it in a week. You know, what's going on? What happened? And then, I mean, they can't come up with anything, So I like this because it's like not as it's and it motivates them to get it done faster because they're going to get paid faster, or paid more. So
paid more. Yes.
Yeah. So I really like this idea. Thank you for sharing that.
So when you're using this on a new employee, a new employee that you're hiring, I just totally lost it. There we go. So when you putting it in the ad for a new employee, you can say like starting at X rate, earn up to, you can even say like go back and like look at what your painters are earning or what they could have earned if they're a piece rate and see what's real. So say there was a job where they just like crushed the budget and your painters would have made $30 an hour if they're a piece rate, you can say like earn up to 30 per hour or something like that. And so if you have that up to in your ad, that's a lot more desirable than say, the job is 23 an hour for experienced painters. And then they have some shared responsibility.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that idea, actually. We should look into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a few videos on it. There's a nugget on it, or maybe two. And we also have a charge rate calculator that's really quite good. Because it does get a little bit confusing, or it can get a little bit confusing. Oh, not charge rate calculator. Sorry. A piece rate calculator.
And in that case, how do you track how many hours they've spent? Just by them telling you?
So at the end of every day, they should just have an hours tracker. There are a lot of online tools, or like Jobber, or there's some different time tracker tools that are free or very cheap. But honestly, what I did is when I started a crew on a job, I would give them a copy of the client contract with like all the details, the color samples, an explanation of like what they're doing, a full write-up of the job, the customer expectations, things like that. And also on the back of the contract, I would have a spot for them to write their hours. So each painter, painter 1, painter 2, painter 3, however many you're on, every single day they clock in, clock out. They just write how many hours they spent on the job. And hopefully them and their partner keep each other accountable and don't cheat it. They're like, you can use those digital time trackers if you really like to have them. Okay, clock in when you get to site, clock out when you leave. You can do that. I like to err on the side of trusting my guys before setting up micromanaging tools like that. If someone is abusing your trust, then absolutely like make sure they clock in when they get to a job site. You can like geocode where they clock in. So like they can open up these apps, they clock in, it'll say when they clocked in and where they clocked in from.
Oh. QuickBooks Time gives you a
pretty much does that, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So you can do that for ones who have abused your trust, but I like to err on the side of trusting first.
Of course.
And then once they put their hours, then you can calculate charge rate. And the cool thing is, the thing that makes it a little bit more challenging is when each painter has a different hourly rate. It makes it a little bit more confusing. And so for this one, I'm just going to make a quick copy so I don't mess up the spreadsheet. You know what? Whatever. I'll just undo it. So say the job is 5,000 and you want the labor percentage to be 40%. That means the labor budget is going to be $2,000. So if your average hourly wage is $25 an hour, let's say $22.50. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that problem was. Anyway, we're not going to solve it right now. It's 80 hours. Okay. So fill in your painters' hourly rates. So if we're just going to have two painters, we're going to get rid of this one. And we have let's say we have a 20 and a 25. Okay. So then how many hours did each painter actually work on the project? So if it's an 80-hour project, let's say this painter 1 worked 30 hours and painter 2 worked 40 hours. So we had 70 hours total on the project. Now, this calculator kicks out how much to pay each painter. So painter 1 produced painter 1 produced 42.86% of the job, and you should pay them 34 hours at their rate, earning $686. They earned $23 an hour. And then painter 2 produced 57% of the job. You should pay them 46 hours at their pay rate, earning $11.43. They earned $29 per hour. So at the start, we put our target as 40%. Mm-hmm. And because they beat the budget and their hourly rates, the total labor percentage ends up being 36% of the job. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
So always tell them how many hours the job is worth, not what the dollar amount is worth in terms of labor. Because if you start telling them a dollar amount, they're going to see, oh, it's a $5,000 job and they're only paying us $1,800.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's like, okay, we have 50 hours, then it like gamifies it and it separates the dollar amount from their labor hours.
Yes.
So it sounds like you guys got a lot to work on.
Yes, we do.
So what are you going to do from here?
Well, right now I'm sitting down and have my computer set, and I'm about to start watching those modules and implementing what you've also taught us right now, and just getting, I think, like Mati said, we're inheriting this company. So getting all of us on the same page and trying to just get all of us on the same page. You know, we want to grow our company, and I think all these notes that we've taken are going to really help and stay more organized and not put so much on our plate as well. So yeah, the second we get off this, I'm going to sit down and start listening to those modules.
Perfect.
Yeah, we need a way to track our everything that's going on. You know, with that hourly tracker is going to help us a lot. The sheet you were sharing with us, and
yeah, that's actually in your first workbook that you get, right? That section 1 workbook.
Yeah. I've been picking up all of this information and kind of delegating the information, but I think it's I need to figure out a different way to kind of get the information across and make sure that it's being implemented. Yeah. So I think that's the next thing I need to focus on, is making sure everyone's implementing the different techniques and systems that are being taught in the course.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're taking over as a CEO.
Yeah.
Okay, so as the CEO, yeah, it's your responsibility to know the system, to understand the system, and then to delegate the system. So it's not necessarily just about, hey, production manager, watch this video and go do it. But it's like, okay, I need to understand it. I need to create the documentation, and then I can delegate it to my team.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sweet. Well, thanks, guys. That was fun.
Mike, that was incredible,
Thank
man.
you.
I
So
greatly,
much.
greatly appreciate it. I know that was a lot more than you probably thought you had coming at you.
No, that's all good. I love it. And it's always more. It always ends up being more, and that's all good. That's just kind of part of it. Have a good one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.